I stood there, the ancient map folded carefully in my coat pocket, and gazed out over a landscape that defied both time and logic. The ruins below, half swallowed by creeping mists, whispered secrets of civilizations long vanished, while new horizons stretched beyond, uncharted and fluid, as if the earth itself were breathing, alive and restless. It was moments like these that crystallized the paradox of our quest, the awe-inspiring beauty and mystery of discovery shadowed by the dread of what might be lost or destroyed along the way. The map, ever-changing, never static, was both our guide and our greatest challenge. Each dawn, it revealed new paths, new riddles, new dangers, and yet it was a testament to the human spirit's unyielding desire to seek truth, to understand the world and our place within it. That evening, as the sun dipped low, casting long amber fingers across our camp, I found myself sitting close to the fire with Lena and Professor Malik. The flames flickered and danced, throwing warm light over our faces, etching lines of weariness and determination into our features. Our voices wove through the night air stories of failures that had scarred us, sacrifices that had shaped us, and hopes that refused to be extinguished. Lena's dry wit cut through the tension, a lifeline of humor amid uncertainty. Malik's passionate recounting of ancient myths and lost histories rekindled a spark of wonder in us all. We were more than a group bound by circumstance. We were a fragile, resilient tapestry of human endeavor, each thread vital to the whole. The storm came suddenly, as if summoned by the restless land itself. Rain hammered down in sheets, the wind shrieking like a living thing determined to undo us. We scrambled to secure our gear, but it was more than the physical tempest that tested Usit, was the relentless unpredictability of the map's shifting nature. Paths we had trusted vanished overnight. Landmarks moved or transformed. In the heart of the storm, as I braced against the cold assault, I felt the raw pulse of resilience beating within me and my companions. We would endure, we must. Back at our makeshift command post, Jade's face was bathed in the soft glow of her tablet. Her fingers danced across the screen, passing satellite feeds, intercepted communications, and data streams. She was our bridge between ancient mystery and cutting-edge technology, a reminder that the human spirit adapts as much as it endures. Her voice, calm but urgent, relayed warnings and opportunities alike, allowing us to navigate not only the treacherous terrain but the ever-present shadow of General Cross's forces. In these moments, I realized that our journey was not just about the map or the lost civilizations it led us to. It was a testament to what humanity could withstand and achieve when faced with the unknown. The fragile balance of discovery and destruction, trust and betrayal, fear and hope, played out in every step we took. As night deepened and the storm passed, I looked around at the faces illuminated by the dying firelight, each marked by trials, yet shining with determination. We were not perfect. We were flawed, cautious, sometimes fearful, but above all, we were resilient. The map's endless pursuit was more than a quest for the mythical origin of the world. It was a journey into the depths of the human spirit itself. Tomorrow, the map would redraw again, new secrets beckoning, new dangers lurking. But tonight, we held fast to the certainty that no matter how the world shifted, the flame of hope and the drive for truth would endure. And as I closed my journal, the words of my lost mentor echoed in my mind. It is not the map that defines us, but the courage to follow where it leads. Our journey was far from over, and the dawn promised yet another chapter in this endless pursuit. But tonight, beneath a canopy of stars, I allowed myself a moment of quiet awe and a deep, steady breath of resolve. The flickering torchlight cast long shadows on the cracked stone walls, each flicker revealing glimpses of intricate carvings that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. Beside him, Professor Harun Malik adjusted his spectacles, his eyes narrowing as he muttered over the faded script. "Elias," Malik breathed, "this isn't just a map of land, it's a record of cycles. Empires rising and falling, borders redrawn by forces beyond mere geography." I leaned closer, the weight of the professor's words settling like a stone in my chest. For months, we'd chased the map's secret, believing it to be a key to forgotten origins. But higher amidst the dust and silence, history was whispering a warning. "These tablets," Malik continued, "tell of an ancient order that understood the power of knowledge to reshape the world, wielding it like a weapon. Their downfall came when ambition outpaced wisdom." Outside the chamber, Lena Dawes stood sentinel, her posture rigid, eyes scanning the flickering shadows at the cave's mouth. The distant hum of Cross's advancing forces was a constant reminder that time was not on our side. Her presence was a steadying force, grounding us in the present even as we delved into the past. "Do you think Cross knows this?" I asked Malik, my voice barely more than a whisper. He shook his head slowly. "He seeks power without understanding. History is a tool for him, not a teacher. That makes him dangerous and reckless." A sudden breeze swept through the chamber, stirring the ancient dust and carrying with it a faint, metallic scent. I felt a shiver run down my spine. The map, ever shifting, seemed to echo our discoveries, its patterns twisting into something new, something more urgent. "Look here," Malik pointed to a series of symbols newly revealed by the dawn's light. "This passage speaks of a cycle of domination and renewal. It warns that those who try to force the natural order will bring ruin upon themselves." The irony was palpable. Cross, with his paramilitary might, sought to seize control of the map's power, to redraw the world's borders through sheer force. Yet, the very history inscribed here suggested that such attempts were doomed to failure. I closed my eyes and pictured the shifting lands outside the unstable terrain. The lost cities, the paths that only revealed themselves with the rising sun. The world was alive, breathing, resisting control. "We must find a way to use this," I said, determination hardening my voice. "If history teaches us anything, it's that knowledge alone isn't enough. We need to outthink Cross, anticipate his moves before he makes them." Malik nodded in agreement, his usual absent-minded demeanor replaced by a sharp focus. "And that means understanding not just the map, but the ambitions driving those who seek it." As the first light of dawn crept into the chamber, the map on my desk shimmered, its lines redrawing into new configurations. The ancient scripts and modern threats were entwined, a complex dance of past and present, history and ambition. Lena returned to our side, her eyes reflecting the cold light. "We don't have much time," she warned. "Cross's forces are mobilizing." Together, we stepped out into the shifting landscape. The air was crisp, the scent of earth and stone mingling with the distant echo of conflict. Behind us, the secrets we'd uncovered weighed heavily, binding us to a destiny forged long before us. The world was changing, its history alive beneath our feet, and we were caught in the fragile balance between preservation and destruction, knowledge and power. With each step forward, I felt the pull of the map's living heart, guiding us into a future shaped by the echoes of a turbulent past. The question lingering in my mind was simple, yet profound. Could we break the cycle before it consumed us all? The answer, I knew, would define not only our fate, but the fate of the world itself. And as the sun rose higher, painting the shifting lands in hues of gold and shadow. I steeled myself for the battles ahead, both against the forces of ambition and the secrets buried deep within the Earth's ancient heart. This was not merely a journey of discovery. It was a test of our resilience, our wisdom, and our courage in the face of a history that refused to be forgotten. The past was speaking. Now it was up to us to listen and to act. I sat cross-legged on the wooden floor, the ancient map unfurled before me, its surface alive with a subtle, almost imperceptible shimmer. Every morning, as sure as the sun rose, the map redrew itself. Lines shifted, symbols morphed, and new pathways carved themselves across its parchment skin, defying the rigid certainties I once believed maps should possess. I traced a trembling finger over the newly revealed contours, the soft glow of the map illuminating my tired face. The horizon it depicted was no longer a distant line separating Earth from sky, but a living, breathing entity, a realm where geography and myth intertwined in a ceaseless dance. This was no ordinary cartographic artifact. It was a portal to understanding the very essence of change itself. Lena stirred nearby, her sharp eyes catching mine as she settled into a sitting posture, arms crossed. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she murmured, a half smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. I smiled back, grateful for her presence. "Not a ghost," I replied softly, "but a promise. The map isn't just shifting lines. It's a reminder that nothing in this world remains fixed. Not the land, not history, not even our own perceptions." Her gaze hardened with the weight of experience. "Then we have to be ready to shift with it. Because if we don't, we'll be left behind, or worse, caught in the undertow." I nodded, feeling the truth in her words. The journey had taught me that adaptation was not a choice, but a necessity. The map, in all its mysterious vitality, was less a guide and more a challenger test of resilience and insight. Professor Harun Malik joined us soon after, his gait slower but no less purposeful. The eccentric archaeologist carried with him the scent of old parchment and earth, a walking repository of forgotten lore. He unfurled a battered tome, its margins scrawled with decades of notes and theories. "Look here," he said, pointing to a series of symbols that mirrored those dancing across the map's surface. "These markings are not merely decorative. They speak of cycles of creation and destruction, of beginnings that bleed into ends and new dawns that rise from twilight." I leaned closer, absorbing his words. Malik's passion was infectious, but beneath it lay a vulnerability born of years chasing shadows of truth that seemed to slip further away with each discovery. "So," I mused aloud, "the map itself embodies this cycle, a living testament to the world's endless evolution." "Precisely," Malik affirmed. "To understand it is to embrace uncertainty, to walk the edge of knowledge where fact bleeds into myth." As the day wore on, Jade Kim's voice crackled through the radio, steady and clear despite the tension that always lurked beneath her calm exterior. From her remote station, she monitored the shifting patterns of satellite feeds and intercepted signals, connecting the ancient with the modern in a web of data and intuition. "Elias," her voice came, "there's something you need to see." The terrain anomalies match the map's latest transformation. It's as if the Earth itself is responding, reshaping in concert with the map's will. I exchanged a glance with Lena and Malik. The implications were staggering. The shifting horizons were not merely symbolic, they were palpable, a living force that demanded respect and vigilance. That evening, as the sun dipped below an ever-changing skyline, I sat by the fire, the map glowing softly beside me. The weight of what lay ahead pressed down, but so too did a burgeoning sense of purpose. The path was uncertain, but within that uncertainty lay the essence of discovery, the thrill of stepping into the unknown with eyes wide open. "We must keep moving," I whispered to the night. "Not just across lands, but through the shifting sands of knowledge and trust. For only by embracing change can we hope to protect what the map reveals and what it may yet conceal." Outside, the wind carried the whispers of ancient lands and future hopes, a reminder that our journey was far from over. Each dawn would bring new revelations, new dangers, and new horizons to explore. And I, the Atlas Walker, was ready to meet them all. But as the stars blinked awake overhead, a silent question lingered in the air. How long could we hold fast against the relentless tide of change before it swept us away entirely? The answer, like the map itself, remained just beyond reach, waiting to be drawn anew with the coming dawn. This chapter would mark a turning point, not with a single climactic event, but through the quiet acceptance of flux and the courage to walk forward into the unknown. For in the shifting horizons lay the promise of both peril and possibility, a testament to the enduring spirit that drives us ever onward. Its surface shimmered faintly, alive with the subtle movement that had become its signature. Elias Mercer stood before it, the lines and symbols shifting and redrawing with almost hypnotic grace. He felt the weight of the moment settle deeply in his chest, not just the physical exhaustion of the long journey, but a profound sense of responsibility seeping into his bones. He reached out cautiously, fingertips brushing the map's delicate surface, now glowing with a gentle azure light. The map pulsed in response, as if acknowledging his touch, welcoming his guardianship. This was no longer just a quest for answers. It was a pact, an unspoken promise that he would shield this living artifact from those who sought to exploit its power. Behind him, the quiet rustling of movement signaled the awakening of his companions. Lena Dawes emerged from the shadows, her sharp eyes immediately catching his solemn expression. Her presence was a steadying force, pragmatic, fierce, and fiercely loyal. She approached silently, folding her arms as she studied the map. "It's changed again," she remarked, her voice low but steady. Elias nodded, turning to face her fully. "It never stops. Every dawn brings new paths, new mysteries. But today, I accept the role it has carved out for me." Lena's lips curled into a rare, approving smile. "Good, because it's not just your burden now. We all stand with you." Soon, the rest of the group gathered Professor Haroon Malik with his graying beard and thoughtful gaze, Marco Silva, rugged and sun-kissed from years in the wild, and Jade Kim, ever watchful behind her tech screens even in this remote place. Around the campfire that evening, their voices mingled with the crackling flames as stories surfaced, tales of past struggles, narrow escapes, and the moments that had defined their journey. The laughter was tinged with the bittersweet knowledge of sacrifices made, but it was also a celebration of survival and shared purpose. Elias listened, absorbing the warmth of companionship that had become his anchor. He realized that guardianship was not merely about protection and vigilance. It was about trust in those who stood beside him, and in the fragile hope that knowledge, when wielded wisely, could illuminate rather than destroy. As night deepened, Elias returned his gaze to the map. The intricate patterns shifted again, revealing faint, almost ethereal pathways that suggested secrets still buried beneath the surface of the world. He traced them slowly, feeling the familiar blend of awe and dread that had accompanied every step of this odyssey. The map was a living puzzle, its nature mutable and elusive, but now it was his charge. Before retiring for the night, Elias stepped outside to the rocky outcrop overlooking the vast, shifting landscape. The wind tugged gently at his hair, carrying the scent of earth and distant rain. The horizon blazed with the first blush of sunrise, painting the sky with streaks of amber and rose. Below, the lands shifted subtly, as if breathing beneath the touch of the new day. He stood there, a solitary silhouette against the awakening world, embracing the solemn responsibility that lay ahead. The endless pursuit of knowledge and the protection of the map's secrets were intertwined. Paths. He was now ready to walk as the guardian of a living legacy. His journey was far from over. But as the dawn promised new challenges, it also whispered of hope, resilience, and the enduring human spirit that had carried him this far. Elias turned back, toward the shelter, the map's glow faintly lighting his way. Tomorrow, the world would shift againland, so would he. With a final glance at the horizon, he whispered to himself, "I am ready." And with that, the living map pulsed once more, its lines weaving the next chapter of an unending story. The air was cool, carrying just a whisper of the night's fading chill, but inside, a quiet warmth stirred. Before me, the ancient map, no longer a mere relic, but a living, breathing enigma rested upon the worn oak table. Its surface shimmered faintly, the ink and parchment shifting, lines redrawing themselves, as if the map were awakening from its nightly slumber. I stood motionless for a moment, eyes locked on the fluid dance of new pathways and symbols that emerged with the break of day. Each glowing curve and delicate stroke seemed to pulse with a secret heartbeat, a rhythm that I had come to both revere and dread. The map's promise was clear. The journey was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning anew. Lena's footsteps echoed softly behind me as she entered the room, her presence steady and unyielding. She moved with practiced grace, her sharp eyes immediately honing in on the map's latest transformation. Silently, she leaned over the table, fingers tracing the newly revealed lines with cautious reverence. The tension in her posture eased ever so slightly, replaced by a flicker of hopeful determination. "It's different today," she said quietly, voice low but sure, more intricate, like it's inviting us further in. I nodded, feeling the weight of those words settle deep in my chest. The map was a puzzle, a living testament to the world's forgotten origins and shifting truths. But it was also a beacon guiding us toward something greater, something that lay just beyond the horizon of our understanding. Professor Malik shuffled in next, his steps lighter despite the early hour. His graying beard bobbed as he approached, leather satchel in hand, the familiar scent of aged parchment and ink trailing behind him. His eyes sparkled with that unyielding passion that had fueled countless nights of study and debate. "Look here," he exclaimed softly, pointing to a cluster of symbols newly etched onto the map's surface. "These markings have never seen anything like it. Could they be the key to the world's true cradle?" His enthusiasm was infectious, and even Jade Kim, who rarely left her remote monitoring station, joined us via a crackling video feed. Her calm, focused gaze betrayed no sign of the long hours she had spent scanning for threats. But the tension in her voice was unmistakable. "All clear so far," Jade reported, "but the usual channels are buzzing. Cross's forces are regrouping. We'll need to move fast and stay sharp." The reality of our situation settled over us like a shadow, a reminder that the map's secrets were coveted by forces willing to destroy anything in their path. Yet, despite the looming danger, there was a renewed sense of unity among USA, bond forged through shared trials and the unyielding pursuit of truth. I took a deep breath, the scent of old paper and damp earth filling my lungs, grounding me in this fragile moment between night and day, past and future. The world outside was waking. Birds chirped tentatively in the trees, and a soft breeze stirred the curtains. It was a symphony of life and change, mirroring the transformation unfolding within these four walls. Turning to my companions, I saw reflected in their faces the same mixture of awe and resolve that had sustained me through countless hardships. We were no longer mere seekers of knowledge. We had become guardians of a legacy far greater than any one of us. "The map has shown us the way," I said, voice steady despite the tumult of emotions inside. "But it's up to us to follow it, to protect its secrets and face whatever lies ahead." Lena met my gaze, a silent promise passing between us. Professor Malik resumed his careful examination of the symbols, already theorizing aloud, and Jade prepared to guide us through the digital shadows that lurked beyond. As the dawn's glow spilled fully into the room, the living map pulsed once more, revealing a new path winding into uncharted lands, a path that beckoned with the thrill of discovery and the shadow of danger. It was a reminder that the quest was never truly over, that knowledge was a shifting horizon, always just out of reach. With renewed purpose, we gathered our gear and prepared to step back into the unknown. The promise of dawn was not just a moment in time. It was a covenantal vow to persevere, to seek, and to protect. And as the first rays of sunlight bathed the ancient map, I knew with certainty that this journey, like the lands it charted, would never stand still. The endless pursuit awaited us, and with it, the fragile hope that through understanding, we might shape a better future. But for now, we stood together at the threshold of the map's latest revelation, ready to embrace whatever dawn would bring.